Discover prototypical track and turnouts with the Roadmaster series from Oak Hill Model Railroad Track Supply. Proudly made in the United States, Oak Hill's handcrafted turnouts provide unparalleled detail and accuracy, giving your layout museum-quality track work at an affordable price. Whether fully built or in easy-to-assemble kit form, Roadmaster provides all the details of real track. Looking for a custom piece of track work? Oak Hill can help with custom turnouts, diamonds, crossings, and more. Check out all of their offerings on their website, ohrtracksupply.com. From trackside to roadside and wherever you'd see a sign, Scale Signs has it all. With over 1,400 offerings in N, HO, S, and O scale, Scale Signs has the largest collection of fine scale signs on the planet. Come see the details that bring your models to life on their website, scalesigns.com. ATLP Extra is our monthly newsletter delivered right to your inbox each month. Sign up for free at atlpextra.com. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Around the Layout, where model railroaders come to tell their story. My name is Ray Arnott. So glad you could join us. Well, it's been just over a week since I got back from the awesome trip with Tony Cook, the editor of Model Railroad News, as we headed out to Deshler, Nebraska for the Spring Creek Model Trains Biennial Open House and Train Show and their big 25th anniversary celebration. Tony and I had a great time hanging out with fellow model railroaders, and we were able to share that with you with live streams that we did during the event. We got to talk to Yelton Models, Broadway Limited, Value Trains, Michelle Kempema and Jen Howell from the Colorado Model Railroad Museum as they talked about their Colorado Rail Proto Meet, Scale Trains, and Bruce from Golden Spike Tower. We also got to talk to Deb and Dave Zucker and got to learn the backstory behind Spring Creek Model Trains and how the business got started. And then we got to talk to Mike and Jeff Zucker and learn how they came back home and joined the family business. If you missed any of those live streams, you can check them out on our YouTube channel. That's at Around the Layout. And of course, we'll provide a link in our show notes, aroundthelayout.com/174. In between the live streams, I went out and played roving reporter and talked to several other manufacturers that were unable to join us for the live streams. And then we had a few surprise guests stop by the makeshift studio that we made in the shipping department at Spring Creek Model Trains. Without further ado, here's what we captured in Deshler, Nebraska. Here we go. Well, I'm standing at a table of a very familiar name, but some new faces behind Micro Engineering. Why don't you tell us your name and what you guys are up to?
Hello, my name is Jack Dwiggins. I'm with Micro Engineering. My father and brother and I, John and Reese respectively, bought Micro back in August of 22, and we've been running it for just about 3 years now. We've been moved to our new location in Macon, Missouri, about a year into owning it, and that move, as you can imagine, took quite a bit out of us. 17 trailer loads total, about $500,000 worth of machinery moved. It was a lot of work, but we got it all moved. And this last year, we've really been hitting our stride on production. We figure the first concern we had to solve was figuring out why things weren't in stock and getting that back solved. So we've been putting a really big emphasis on building a back stock of product, figuring out issues with our manufacturing end, and making sure we had plenty of supplies to keep things moving. This year alone, we have made more turnouts in the last 7 months than the previous 2 years combined. We're at about 5,500 turnouts made this year. So we're doing that. We've also been hiring pretty aggressively. Our staff has grown to about 10 people now, all to make more turnouts and get stuff back into people's hands.
Well, this is a legendary name. What brought you guys to Micro Engineering, and what was your family's interest in taking over this business?
Mostly my father. My dad, John Dwiggins, is a avid model railroader, has been his whole life. It was kind of a funny story. My brother and dad were in St. Louis to pick up some stuff for the farm, and I happened to be working in Fenton, Missouri, which is where Micro's out of. On a random Saturday, it was like a Tuesday afternoon, I got a call and said, hey, do you want to go tour Micro? We're going over to see what they're all about. So we went over and got to talking about, their business and how that was going. And a few months later, we decided to buy it from them. My brother Reese and I quit our jobs and worked there for about 3 months before we got all the paperwork finished up. We wanted to see what we were getting into and learn as much as we could from the Rands family before us. And it was really just the name and the opportunity to bring some manufacturing back home. We're from a small community, and 10 manufacturing jobs is a lot of manufacturing jobs. So we wanted to do what we could to improve our community back home while also giving us something to do as a family.
So as you were learning about microengineering, what were some of the things that really kind of surprised you and some of the big things that you learned from the predecessor?
Injection molding is an art form. Anybody who's been in it for very long will tell you the same thing. It's an art form. There's a lot a lot you have to learn to keep old equipment moving, as well as making fine, high-quality finished products. And so we spent a lot of time learning everything we could from Ron, Rands before us, as well as all kinds of documentation to figure out how all of this stuff works. From a machinery point of view, it's not that complicated, but you would think you could set the same thing up twice the same way and get the same result, and you absolutely can't. It's an art form. It takes a lot of time to get stuff dialed in, as well as just the terminology. My dad's a railroader, my brother and I aren't, and so before this we weren't model railroaders, and it took a lot for us to get our head around the nuances and why you do things particular ways and why this product line or this company had been so successful in the past. And so there was a lot for us to learn. Now we're back to a spot where we think we can keep up with our demands and continue to build stock. We are working on a website. As anybody who's been to our website recently knows, it is a piece of junk. We have a new one coming out in August with an online storefront. It'll have inventory and availability information. There'll be a portal for dealers to access specific things and really open up what we're able to do and provide quickly without having to email or call us all the time. People can just have this information at their fingertips. So we're looking forward to that launching about middle of August.
So that website is microengineering.com. And of course, we're at the Spring Creek Model Trains 25th anniversary train show and open house, and you can buy that through Spring Creek Model Trains as well. Is that right?
Yep. They're one of our bigger dealers. We were happy to work with them, and it's been great to be at the show so far.
Awesome. So you talked about inheriting a legendary line. Do you have anything new in the channel, or anything that you think you're going to take microengineering in a direction?
Yeah. So recently we have purchased the Tamalco S-Gauge mold. We've been running S-Gauge track. We actually have a little bit of it with us at the show. We're out of Code 100 rail, which is the primary S-Gauge rail size, but we've made what we can and brought it with us. We are also working on we're finishing up a number 8 turnout in HO. That's expected to come out sometime next spring. Right now, that would be the next big one around the corner. We have a crossover that's in the works. That would be a number 5 HO crossover. That one is very close. We're hoping to have it ready to go before Amherst next year. We'd like to debut it at Amherst. And then other than that, we're still trying to figure out what next turnout to jump to. These current projects are projects that carried on from before we bought the company. So we're just kind of wrapping them up and figuring out what's best for us to do, from scratch as a new company. So we've learned a lot about the tool and die industry, and we've partnered with some really capable people that have taught us a lot from the injection molding side. So I think we've gotten in touch with the right people to make these products. We just have to decide what's the next best value to get into. Currently, we're leaning towards doing our ladder track line in N-scale. If we started that today, we'd be about 18 months out before that hits production. But that's where we're leaning towards. We think it gives us it meets a demand that nobody else can right now. Ladder track is unique to us. It expands our N-scale line, which, as everybody knows, is growing in popularity every year, especially for younger guys like me. And so it just kind of felt like it'd be the sweet spot. We just haven't committed to that yet, though.
Well, it appears that microengineering is in great hands. Jack Dwiggins, thank you so much for coming by and telling us all about microengineering.
Yeah, and thank you for having me. Good to see you guys at the show.
Well, I think the biggest noisemakers over here at the Spring Creek 25th show is the guys from Iowa Scaled Engineering. We can hear that squealer from pretty much across the room as you're demonstrating that. I got Nathan Holmes with me.
Hi there.
And then I have Michael Peterson, both from Iowa Scaled Engineering.
Hello.
Good to see you guys. You got some really cool stuff here. Of course, Spring Creek Model Trains is one of your outlets for some of your amazing products. Tell us a little bit about what you got here on display.
Well, we've brought some of our signature products. Obviously, the Proto Throttle is the one thing that most people know us for. You know, a realistic control stand throttle that allows you to more realistically experience model railroading, helps put you in that mindset in the cab. We've also got our squealer, which you mentioned earlier, which cuts through the room like nothing else. At least we don't have the cicada on today. The squealer allows you to, it has a motion-sensitive detector included with it, and it allows you to put flange squeal in tight curves and yard scenes in your layout. It helps add that ambient sound that, you know, if you're around a real railroad, the rails are constantly squeaking and popping, and it's something that just helps you draw into that scene a bit better. We've also got our Motorman, which is our automatic train shuttle controller. It's great for doing things like trolley lines. We have one guy who models the New York City subway and uses it to run subway cars back and forth. We've got our bells that work with lots of grade crossings, and we've got our modular signal system stuff, which is not only great for, you know, if you want to build a modular layout for Fremo or Fremo N standards, but also great for adding simple ABS to your home layout.
Well, awesome. And I saw we have a N-scale modular layout that's actually utilizing your product.
Yes, we certainly do. They've been great supporters of ours, and we're happy to help them out. I think we're really filling a need there. The MSS stuff in the modular world has really been taking off lately.
Well, this is going to be a busy July for you folks. I know you're here in Nebraska. Tell us where else you're going to be, Michael.
We'll be attending the St. Louis RPM at the end of the month.
Excellent. And I'm looking forward to that because you both playing a role in the keynote address that's going on at the St. Louis RPM. Nathan, you're going to be on the panel. Michael, you're going to be pushing the buttons and making sure everything goes well.
And we also will be doing a clinic on the Proto Throttle, teaching people a simple method to get things set up with the Proto Throttle.
Excellent. Yeah, that'll be probably a very well-attended clinic. What have I said in the past? That thing's only missing a Surgeon General's warning for its addictiveness. It is an amazing product. Definitely revolutionizes model railroading and operations for sure. Slows it down, especially for smaller layouts. It's such a great tool for that.
Yeah, it really is. It brings a new dimension to your operating, puts you in the engineer's seat on your model railroad.
Awesome. And then Nathan, we get to talk about technology in model railroading, something you guys know a whole lot about.
I mean, it's been rumored we know a little bit about it, so yeah. I'm still preparing what we're going to talk about that night, but we'll be looking at how we used to do things and how technology has allowed us to evolve and do things better, faster, more realistically.
If I was able to sneak into the research and development room at ISC, could you tell me what I might see or what might happen before I got shot?
Well, one of the things that we're working on, it's not really a secret at all, is the defect detector, talking defect detector. Taking what's been on the market before and adding some new features that haven't been available to people. And so if we might have something to show at St. Louis, our goal is to definitely have something by Springfield.
Oh, awesome. We'll be looking forward to seeing what you have available. It's amazing the stuff that you guys have been able to come up with, you know, pushing the envelope of technology and model railroading, enhancing the experience. You guys are doing a phenomenal job. Thank you so much for taking the time out and spending some time with me here at the Spring Creek Model Trains 25th anniversary show.
No, thank you. We appreciate you stopping by, and we'll see you in St. Louis in a couple of weeks.
So I was wandering the aisles here at Spring Creek Model Trains, and I see a very familiar face, a guy that I've seen before, and I'm trying to remember the last time I saw him, maybe down in Texas, but maybe we've seen each other since then. The one, the only, Mr. Mesquite Belt himself, Devin Jackson. Devin, good to see you.
Hi, Ray. Good to see you.
Awesome. You got a basket full of stuff, and you're walking the aisles of Spring Creek Model Trains and picking out stuff. Are you filling that trailer to head back to Texas with?
I have 4 or 5 bags in the trailer right now, plus 2 dozen trees that have been sitting here waiting to be picked up.
Oh boy! So you're one of the guys in the layaway room that's piling stuff up in there too.
The bottom right corner is mine. I'm layaway number 16, so I've been here a while.
Yeah, you've been doing business with Spring Creek, and this isn't your first rodeo. This is not your first time out to Spring Creek Model Trains.
No, this is probably 8, 9, or 10, somewhere in there.
Wow. So you've become kind of a regular to Deshler, Nebraska.
I have, and I know where the grocery store is. I pretty much know where everything is in town.
I would imagine it doesn't take a whole lot of time to figure out Deshler, Nebraska, but you seem to be a regular. You're camping here as well.
Right
over in the park. You watched the fireworks the other night and hanging out.
The city park is, I think it cost us $60 for the week.
For the week, $60 a week.
Yeah.
Where are you going to stay for $60 a week? It ain't going to be very many places for
I
that.
can't even stay at Tony Cook's house for $60
No,
a week.
I think Tony Cook would kick you out for
Sure.
Yeah.
But great facilities. The city reservation is online, and if you stay a week, you get a day free, which is I think is really great.
$60 a week, and then you get something for free. Amazing stuff. So, how far is it from Palestine, Texas, to Deshler, Nebraska?
It's about a 12-hour drive.
Wow.
And we try to break it up. We've had to do it before in a straight shot, and that's just painful.
Now, I know you got your lovely wife here with you.
Yep.
And then you also have your son, Matthew, who I also saw in the aisles picking stuff out.
Oh, yeah.
And I encouraged him, just keep going. I gave him that
we
pat
can leave
on the
Matthew
back.
here, and he could just work for free to pay off everything.
Yeah, he sure would. He's highly enthusiastic. It's awesome to see a family affair with the Mesquite Belt.
Absolutely.
And that's what we experienced, Mark Herrick, Don Iris, and myself, when we got to go see your layout in Palestine, Texas. It really is a family hobby.
Yeah, my wife has found a niche to sit there and make cookies and cinnamon bread, and you don't get the sweets unless you sign the guest book, so she has you a checkmate, and she loves to be a good host and so forth, and answer questions, and she's been around from the very beginning, so it's nice to have her taking care of people before they come into the layout. She knows quite a few people within the hobby also, because we tend to run in the same circles, and sometimes wives commiserate all together and share stories.
Yeah, so family affair, and it's kind of the same thing here at Spring Creek Model Trains. Kind of fits together with what you're doing. The layout is a family affair, and here at Spring Creek Model Trains, it's a family affair, and it seems like you've become kind of family to them as becoming a regular here.
We have adopted them as Nebraska family. We cry when Nebraska loses on football in the last 30 seconds, and then I'll send them a message. I said, I thought we had it, and they're like, yeah, we did too. Yeah. But if you want to see Nebraska win, you just have to pull out the VHS tape and put it in the recorder.
You have to find a VCR first, then put it in. But nonetheless, it's great to see you up here. And I know you've got some exciting adventures. You've recently retired. The last time we had you on air for an interview, I believe you were still working.
Yep.
But now you have fully retired.
Yep.
Your health is heading in the right direction. That's always a great blessing to see you and after the challenges that you've had. So tell us what your next big adventures are going to be.
Well, we are making this trip into a longer trip. We've made a trip to Arkansas to see our son and his wife. Then we're going to leave Deshler on Monday, and then we're going to head to North Platte and visit Bailey Yard and all that. And then we might ease up to Alliance just to get into Wyoming for a little bit. And then, as my wife says, the mountains are calling and I must go. So we're going to drop down to the Denver area and see Kern Orndorff and Intermountain and hopefully John Parker and Brent Rush and some guys down there. And of course, we get to stop at Greeley and see the beautiful Michelle Kempema.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's going to be great for you to be able to get out, get to see some folks, make some railroad stuff. Please the wife with being able to get to the Rocky Mountains and see them. That's definitely important to keep the peace. And I know it's probably going to be kind of top heavy to railroading and model railroading. How does she feel about that? She all in on it?
She is a great reference. In fact, one of the things we did when we were going to build the layout, we wore the same shirts with pockets to multiple layouts. So we could measure off of the shirt how high or how low the layout was. So we found the right height. And then we knew the right height we wanted, which mine runs between 48 and 52 inches, and how deep we wanted things and seams and so forth. And there was a lot of, I really like that. I didn't care so much for this as much as I like that. and it was a consensus. And then like when I plant trees, she's in there all the time going, you need one more over here, you need something else here. Or one time I came up with this great idea for a view block, and she's like, I don't like that at all. So out they came and go something else.
Well, that's awesome. Devin, always great to see you. Glad you were able to stop by, chat with us for a few minutes. I'm going to let you get back to those shelves because I'm sure there's a few more things calling for the Mesquite belt to be added to that layout.
Ray, I appreciate it, and I appreciate all the prayers and cares for me last year with stage 4 cancer, and I'm cancer-free, so I'm sticking around and going to be watching and listening to the Around the Layout podcast, see what all we can do on the operating crew.
So yeah, another familiar face we've run into in Deshler, Nebraska. Just meat. I guess this would be a cornfield meet of sorts, right? Right in the middle of the cornfield. We got from scalesigns.com, Tom Garza. Tom, it's so good to see you.
It's so good to be here, and so glad to see you again. And when you say middle of the cornfield, I think a few people had joked to me, or I made it up in my head, but I think I told my family, like, yeah, you're going to be driving, it's cornfields to the left, cornfield to the right, and all of a sudden this little town. And I think I kind of made that up to have fun with my family. And then when I got here, holy crap, it is. But it's amazing.
Yeah.
I've loved Nebraska in the big sky.
Yeah, for sure. It's a beautiful country. It's the first time I've been into Nebraska. Have you been to Nebraska before?
I think I might have drove through it from Wyoming, seen some Army friends, but I've never got to stay here. And it's been a totally new experience being able to stay here and visit a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. It's a new experience for me. First time in Nebraska, in a quaint town. Like I've said many a times before, I thought I came from a small town of like 1,700 people, but you get here, 752 people here in Deshler, Nebraska. But quite a town and quite a lot of stuff going on. And of course, the center of it all this weekend, Spring Creek Model Trains 25th anniversary, an amazing accomplishment for them to hit the 25th anniversary mark. And you're out here celebrating with them and also bringing your awesome signs with you to show everybody and get to see all the creativity that you've been creating over the last few years here now.
Yeah. And first of all, I mean, the hobby shop here, they got that little slogan, wow. And that's exactly what I think people say as soon as they walk in. This is an amazing hobby shop in the middle of nowhere. And when I walked in, I was in wow. I was just walking just a few minutes ago and still amazed at everything that's here. It's an awesome place. And them being here 25 years, I can see why after talking to Dave and his sons, and so family oriented here, and that's what I'm trying to do also in this industry is we're all family. Yeah. And so being here for their 25th is really awesome. Now I told them I see them next year, and they're like, oh, we only do this every 2 years. I'm like, oh, I almost showed up all by myself next year. So I look forward to being here in 2 years to be with them. This will always be a spot. This is an incredible place to meet people and see the manufacturers that are here.
Yeah, that for sure. And you talked about that family spirit, and I know scalesigns.com is also that same thing. You guys are kind of got the same idea, bringing the family and getting the family involved. Talk a little bit about how you've made this a trip with the wife out here to show off the goods at scalesigns.com.
Well, yeah, so it's really super awesome, and having your wife joining you in what was a hobby.
Right.
And now a business, and it took us 13 hours to get here, and so I get some alone time with my wife. I know some people are going like, "What, alone time with your wife?" But you really get some good conversations going. So it's really awesome. My wife, her little story is, she thought it was going to be a side hustle for me. I was retired and keep me busy and stuff like that. But then she found out that it's a different culture in the railroad industry and modeling. And then she realized, oh, this is not a side job. It's actually something good. And when you mention family, I tell them, my customers, but I tell them, you're not my customer. You're now family. This is how I want things to be. If you need my help or anything, you just give me a call and we'll see what we can do. And definitely, I guess I got it good on the plus side because I get my wife at the same time. The wife helps me keep kind of grounded. Sometimes us railroad guys go like, yeah, let's go, and we get gun ho. And so maybe some of the listeners go like, well, yeah, all right, gun ho, go. And the wife goes like, whoa, wait a minute, did you think about this? And I'm like, oh. I really hate to say this, but yes, you're right.
Yes. Well, you've learned the big lesson. You're a little bit ahead of me when it comes to marriage, I'm sure. But I'm sure you've learned this. Never question a woman's intuition, right? That when they have that instinctive thing going on and they figure, don't question it. Always listen to it. They just have that safety that works well for us gung-ho guys. I mean, I know that you are so excited about this. You just want to go through that whole, federal book and print every sign and do it, and be the everything to everybody guy. And I'm sure she helps kind of keep you grounded, like you said, and kind of on focus and on point.
She does. Like, I was just talking to one gentleman, and we talked about that federal book, but each state has a different book, so there's a few signs in there different. And so I'm telling Denise, my wife, and she's like, well, hold on, let's just take care of the signs you got right now. We'll put that, we'll get there later. So it's, yeah, you're right. I've kind of learned that women do kind of have the first thing that comes out of them sometimes is right. And I'm like, oh, I hate to say that. I know you listeners are going like, what is this guy talking about?
No, I think the guys that are married probably know exactly what we're talking about. And, and the ladies that are listening right now say, yep, they just knew this already, right? They knew this already. So a long trip down, I just got to imagine for a sign guy, it's got to be like research, right? Like, how do you shut your brain off to not see all these signs all the way down coming from Michigan, right? You're coming from Michigan all the way down to Nebraska. There's so many, and I'm not a sign guy, but I saw a whole bunch of unique signs already through here. It must be, do you have an idea book like completely filling up right now? I mean, one that your wife's going to have to throttle you on, but I mean, it's got to be a lot of great ideas.
Two-part answer on this. So my wife just showed me this video about this lady is like, are your husbands doing this? When he's driving, he's sightseeing. And there you go. That's a part of your question there. While I'm driving, I'm like, oh, I don't have that sign. Oh, that sign's a little different. I'm going to have to mark that as a Nebraska sign when I get home and make that sign. And so, yes, there's that, like, and she's like, keep your eyes on the road. And I'm like, oh, and yeah, so it's being here in Nebraska. I just took a picture of a sign which is north of York. And it's a whole sign, one piece, but it's bigger, but it says alternative route for Interstate 80. Because we took 80 all the way, a lot from here, I think from Chicago all the way here, we took 80. And I'm like, oh, I've never seen that, but then it makes sense. It snows here. They got these little railroad crossings that close down the ramp so you can't go on the highway, so that's the alternate for the highway. So I'm like, oh, okay, understood. So I'm going to make that one. And then we went to a town that's southeast of here. I think it's called Seward, or Seward, Seward. And they actually had signs that says this is a snow route, and your car will be towed away during snow time so they can snow this, because this is an important road when there's heavy snow. So I'm like, well, I'm from Michigan. I love snow, and that's a snow sign. So that one's going in. That one's on the list too. You're right.
I saw a unique sign right out here, and they have a four-way intersection, I believe, where 81 crosses, and you come to the stop sign, and there's another little sign again that's got a left and right arrow, and it says "Look again." And I thought I was like, well, isn't that a neat little sign?
See that.
Yeah, it says, look at, I'm causing trouble here. I'm giving Tom more. I just saw he just lit right up about that. We'll have to snag a picture on our way back. We'll send it over to Tom so he gets to see the look again sign. But yeah, Tom, awesome that you stopped by here in the back of Spring Creek Model Trains. I know it's been a busy weekend for you. You still got more work to do. You got to pack all the rest of those, which I think you're packing a lot less than what you brought, which is always a good story.
Yeah, that always is a good story. I am packing a lot less. But this time I made sure I made stuff that people would like. And I learned that from the Amherst show. So, yeah, it was a really good time here, and I really look forward to coming back again.
It's always awesome for me to be able to see a business like yours continue to grow, continue to meet new people. The success is way out in front of you here. You're going to be doing awesome. You are the sign guy. ScaleSigns.com. Tom Garza, thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you very much for having me.
We talked about familiar faces and folks that I've seen before, and now we're getting to see them right here in the middle of Deshler, Nebraska. Nick Santo from Nyx Trains. Nick, good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you, Ray. Thanks for having me on.
Well, glad to have you here, and so excited to see you and all your products, the Nyx Trains products, Decoder Buddy, And then all the other additions that you've made, you bring them right out here to the middle of Deshler, Nebraska to show them off. And the last place I saw you were talking about some new products as well. Where was the last spot that we ran into each other?
Wow, that's a good question, Ray. It probably was Amherst, maybe one time later.
Yep, and then we saw somewhere else we ran into each other, and we were talking about being out here, so we got to do that. But it's such a whirlwind weekend. Yeah, everything's a blur, and time is clicking by so fast. You know, of course, we're celebrating 25 years of Spring Creek Model Trains, and Deb and Dave last night talked about how time flies and how much, you know, that just went by in a blur, and this weekend went by even faster in a blur.
It has, and you know, Spring Creek has been a destination for a long time. I've known Deb and Dave for quite a while in terms of being at shows also. It's always good to see them, and they bring Mike and Jeff along for Amherst, and so it's a good family. They make you feel a part of the family here too. It's been a really great weekend. Yeah,
we're two big fans of Amherst. Of course, we're both two New Englanders who love the fact that we're fairly close to Amherst, and we get the SEMA of model railroading right in our backyard per se.
Yep.
And yeah, it's amazing to be able to see them out there, and they've been doing it for a while. And I remember even back to the day, they had these like rolling racks with all this stuff. And I was always impressed like how they made it go down the road. And I know they retired them in favor of some new shelving and some new ways of doing things. But just to see how much product they bring out to Amherst and be able to, you know, bring the hobby shop, this massive mecca of model railroading.
Yep.
They bring it right to you locally, and we've been able to see that for quite a few years.
It's amazing. They bring more to show than I used to see in hobby shops. I came in here. I haven't been in a hobby shop in a long time. And the first, I couldn't even say wow. I was so overwhelmed.
I was the same thing. I locked up, and you know, Mike Zucker came over and he said, "Are you okay?" Like I was like, he goes, "You're not really yourself." I was like, "I am so like sensory overloaded right now. I feel like I'm in the middle of a massive warehouse of stuff, but it's in a beautiful store, carpeted, nice shelving. It's just." Everything you get. There's no wonder why they've been a multi-time winner of the Walthers Brick and Mortar Brigade Award. It's just absolutely amazing. So glad that you were able to come out here and be a part of this. Talk a little bit about what's new at NixTrains, because I know you've been in the R&D department building some new stuff.
We've got some new stuff. The hardest part of the new product was naming it. There's so many names for Keep Alives, and I named it Power Bridges. I have 3 Power Bridges, 2 3-wire varieties, and 1 2-wire variety of a Stay Alive. They work very well in both 2-wire and 3-wire stay alive situations. The 2-wire is electronically set. For everybody that's heard that you can only use 3 wires on a European decoder, this is an exception. It's a 2-wire that'll work in a 3-wire situation.
Oh, wow.
And the 3 wires can be configured so that they work in a 2-wire situation.
Awesome.
The prices, I feel, are very right, and the sizes are very good too.
Now, I'm a big proponent of adding capacitors to locomotives, and I think, you know, as an operator, I know how much it enhances. Talk a little bit about what this helps resolve.
It does a couple things. If you have a decoder and you run out of electricity that feeds the decoder, then a decoder might stop, and the sound stops, and then you have to start up through the startup sequence again, or it'll just be quiet for a moment. That drove me absolutely crazy.
As it would me, yeah.
Yeah, and the second thing that I really don't like to see on my railroad is when lights are coming at me, they're blinking.
Yeah.
And what a Stay Alive or a Keep Alive or a Power Bridge does is it provides the momentary electricity to get across that dead spot and makes it smooth so that the lights always stay on and so that the decoder always works. The sound is continuous. It doesn't stop like that.
Right.
And it's a neat invention. And capacitors are just small batteries, and they've gotten very efficient lately, just like batteries in cars. now you can run a car on a battery. And boy, I could only get a couple feet in the old days.
Yeah, exactly. Now it's come a long way. And, now the Power Bridge being a new addition to the lineup that you've been able to offer through NixTrains. And again, NixTrains.com. I'm reading your shirt to make sure I get all those letters right to be able to check that out. But also available right here at Spring Creek Model Trains and, of course, their website, springcreekmodeltrains.com. This is a new addition to the lineup that you've had, and you really, with your decoder buddy, kind of revolutionized the ability for people to add DCC to existing locomotives. Talk about the original decoder buddy and kind of the new developments with the decoder buddy.
The original decoder buddy was designed to work with 8 output decoders, and I found the first step was that it was large. It had a detachable board so that you could separate the shell and the frame, and that worked very well. But people were saying, "Boy, it's awful big. I can't fit that in my switcher. I can't. It doesn't work nicely in the tender of my steam locomotive." So I came out with a Mini. The Mini serves its purpose and hasn't changed. One thing that happened was ESU came out with the 12 output decoder, and now Ring Engineering has a 12 output decoder. So I have lighting outputs that serve all 12 lighting functions. We in the United States like lights more than we do servos that open doors or do one thing or another, put the pantograph up and down. Yeah. So the resistors all work for all the lights in the lighting output, so you don't have to worry about resistance and LED lighting. They are built for LED models. We can work things around. If you twist my wrist awful hard, I'll give you the secret for using bulbs, but not happily. And I'm not sure that you'll be very happy with bulbs and DCC for very long. The rest has gone into making sure I had pads for the stay alives, the 3 wires and the 2 wire stay alives, and pads on the motherboard that don't separate. If we're doing truck lights that are associated with the frame, the wires want to come up through the frame and stay on the frame and not get into the shell of the locomotive. Whereas until lately, and now manufacturers are starting to pull all the lights back onto the frame of the locomotive and put small printed circuit boards with the lights all set on it, and then mount those in the frame. And I think that's a good idea. For the older conversions or for the older upgrades from DC to DCC, I think you'll find that the small connector board with the light with the LEDs going up into the shell are a good way to do business.
Yeah, and I've had that challenge before as well, and it is tough when you have, especially when you're adding and you get a locomotive that didn't have ditch lights or didn't have classification lights or ground lights or any of these other ones. Like you said, we love to see the lights and all these features, but when you wire it, you get stuck because now you got to keep the shell and you got to put wire that's long enough to get the shell off, but then the wire's so long that now you put the shell back on, the wires are getting pinched down the side, now the thing's getting squeezed out and you're fighting with it and trying to twist it like braided hair to try to keep it up. And yeah, so this is what the Decoder Buddy has helped solve.
It does solve that. And the other thing is when you're doing weathering and you decide maybe you need to oil the wheels or the gears in the frame, you don't want to get the oil on the weathered part, or when you're using weathering powders, you don't want to get those into the gears of the or the motor of the locomotive, so that the whole thing is still totally separable. You can have each part in a different room of the house.
Yeah, yet another awesome solution coming from really that cottage industry I talk about and I praise so much. Something you've come up with and been able to go out and now peddle around the world and, or at least around the States. Have you been outside of the United States talking Nyx Trains yet?
Not yet, but it's a lot of that part is a major part of the fun, and one of the reasons that It is good to do it. I wear all the hats except my wife does the finances, and she lets me go out on trips.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And I say around the world, but you've been to Texas, so you have been to a whole other country. And Devin Jackson, who's been on earlier, will verify that they are a whole other country. So awesome that you were able to come by and join me here. Again, NixTrains.com, Nyx Trains. Check out his link. If you didn't catch that, check it here in the show notes, and we'll be able to provide that link for you. Nick, thank you so much for coming by the back room here at Spring Creek Model Trains in Deshler, Nebraska, as we celebrate their 25th anniversary.
Well, thanks, Ray. It's been a pleasure to be here, and it's been a pleasure to be here with you. I appreciate being together with you this afternoon. Now I'm joined by the editor of Model Railroad News and my chauffeur, Mr. Tony Cook.
Hello, Ray. How you doing?
I'm doing well. We're back from our adventure in Nebraska. I hope you got well rested this past week, because it was quite a marathon last weekend.
It was. I mean, there was so much to see, so much to do. Even just being in a small town, you wouldn't think you'd do that much running around. But we ran from the store to the Thayer County Community Center to the high school and back around several times. So yeah, a lot of fun stuff. I've heard from a lot of folks after the show about how much fun they had too. So yeah, I think it was another great event.
Yeah, great event, great adventure. Enjoyed our time together. We got to hang out, and then we got to hang out with some really cool people as well. We went to dinner with some great folks, and then afterwards hung out at the hotel with them, and then everybody that we saw. And it was such a positive event. So cool to be able to be with your people, as I like to say. And we certainly were with a lot of our people this past weekend.
Absolutely. It was a lot of fun. And as I say, I've heard from both some of the manufacturers and vendors that were there that had a good experience at the show and got to meet and talk to a lot of folks. And then also heard from people that were there that we met that were just fellow modeler types like us that, really enjoyed getting to see the things and ask some questions and see a lot of new products.
Yeah, and then right at the tail end of our trip, as we were heading home, we got just a tad bit of rail fanning in. You know the spot better than I do. Why don't you tell the folks where we stopped?
Oh, we stopped off for gas there in Maryville, Kansas, which is it's a crew change point on that line out of basically Kansas City and Topeka, run east-west, the west or northbound roll over around my way through like Atchison and up, and then I think the eastbound, this all comes down out of Gibbon, Nebraska, off the line around North Platte. And Marysville is it's a huge area for the trains to come up and stop, and we saw a lot of stored, or I think it's power being sold. They were old enough GEs. I think they were basically leaving the roster, but kind of fun to see. And we saw a lot of neat maintenance away stuff, like that recent Rapido Trains flat car with the concrete ties and the flat car with the like container office thing on it.
Yeah, that's for sure. And that deadline, boy, oh boy, was that thing long. I took a drone photo, and it's yellow streak as far as the eye could see. So quite an amazing stuff. I mean, my neck was breaking every time we went over a bridge. I was looking for stuff. And the only time we had a chance to actually see something moving, we waited. We thought something was coming, but it was time to go back to the hotel. We pull in the hotel parking lot, and what do we hear? The blast of horns as they were going through the crossing. So that was...
Isn't that how that works? We were in Fairbury, Nebraska, and yes, we went down and looked at the old Rock Island Depot and the stuff there, and then waited, and the signals were dead at first, and I think you wanted to shoot some pictures of a grain elevator, and then as we were getting ready to go, I saw the signals light up. I'm like, well, there ought to be a train pretty soon, and we kind of waited around, and yeah, finally gave up on it. Went to the other side of town as we're stepping out of the car. It's like, oh,
that's called my luck. I mean, it just seemingly my luck, but nonetheless, the only small down on a very awesome weekend. And we've got so many people to thank for the awesome weekend. I want to start by thanking the few that helped me as we prepared for this. I want to start by thanking James McNabb, who put together that awesome compilation video. The folks that couldn't make the show sent in clips. Those were Athern, Bachman, Class 1, Rapido, Micro Trains, and the Amherst Railway Society, represented by John Sacradotti. So thank you, James, for putting that together on such short notice and doing an awesome job with it.
Dave and Debbie, you could really tell as they watch that video, And I know everybody in the store was watching, I think, live while we were doing it out on the monitor in the store. But it was really neat to see. You could tell they were very much. This was a kind of an emotional, 25 years, but it was definitely an emotional weekend and a lot of neat things for them too. And you could tell that they were really having a good time with it all.
Absolutely. I want to thank Matt Forkham, who put together the graphics that you saw during the live streams. Matt is such a huge help to the podcast. He's responsible for the awesome website that we have, and also was able to help me get the good look that we had all weekend long. I also want to thank the Zucker family. Their hospitality was beyond words, and we were so happy to be there. They took great care of both Tony and I, and we did feel like one of the family, didn't we, Tony?
Absolutely. That's how it is. I mean, all the way to the fireworks show Friday night was one of my favorite things. That was a lot of fun. So it was a great 4th of July weekend.
Absolutely was. Well, Tony, thank you again for all of your help this past weekend with the live streams, and you wrangled in all of our guests and got them set up, and it was such a huge help to me. So thank you for doing that. And boy, I look forward to our next adventure.
Absolutely, Ray. It was great stuff.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Around the Layout. Learn more about today's episode, check out past shows, and much more on our website, aroundthelayout.com. Show your support by becoming an operating crew member at aroundthelayout.com/crew. Follow us on social media, aroundthelayout.com/social. And send us your feedback, aroundthelayout@gmail.com. Thanks for hanging out with us around the layout.